Hey, Joseph Devil 1976 here. Today I'm going to show you the collection of Star Wars figures I started for my son. I wanted him to have some figures to start playing with when he gets a little bit older here in about a year. So I decided just to go ahead and start getting them now so that when his birthday and Christmas come around I'll have plenty of figures to give him. I'm going to start with A New Hope figures, then I'll go to Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi. Within each of those movie toy lines, I'm just first going to start getting all the main characters, and then I'll go ahead and get the secondary and background characters after that. The toy line I'm mostly focusing on is the Power of the Force. Now, this toy line came out between 1995 and 2000. I actually used to collect those figures. I was like really early 20s when that toy line came out. So I was really excited about it, and I actually had a large collection of those figures. I had just about every single one. I had variations, all that stuff. But I ended up selling all of it, which I completely regret because I wish I still had them, because then I could just give them to my son and I wouldn't have to be doing this all over again. But at the time, you know, I wasn't thinking about getting married. I wasn't even thinking about having kids then. And it was just like one of those collections that I got, and then I'd never really had room to display it, and you know, I only took it out every once in a while to kind of look at it, and it just kind of got to be where it was taking up too much room in my house, and I sold it. So still kind of regretting that. I wish I could have them back, but to be honest, they're they're so inexpensive now. It's not that much of a loss. The only thing I'm really losing is time, because I actually have to go find them and get them. But luckily, the vintage toy store that I go to has a huge selection of these figures, either carded or loose. So even if I go just once a month, I should be able to pick up, you know, several figures for very inexpensive, and should be able to get a pretty decent collection going here and finished within the next year or so. For the New Hope, the main characters, I just picked up what I thought were some of the better looking figures. Start off with the Luke Skywalker here. I think this is like the second version of Farm Boy Luke that they released. The first one, like a lot of the other figures in this toy line, they were going for very heroic figures. So the figures had like huge muscles and like really weird action poses with the legs and stuff like that, and that kind of made them hard to stand up, and then they just didn't really look very accurate to what you were seeing in the movie. So this one I like a lot better. I think it looks just a 1,000 times better than the other one that they did. I think there's actually a picture on that C3PO card. I'll show you here in a minute. So this one came with just a lightsaber. I got him an extra blaster just so he could have a gun too, because he doesn't really use the lightsaber in the movie at all. But overall, pretty good looking figure. Next is the Han Solo. And as you can see, you kind of see what I'm talking about. You know, big, huge muscles, kind of this weird leg pose, whatever the heck is going on here. He stands okay, but he falls over really easily, which was kind of the issue with a lot of these figures from this toy line. But that can kind of be overlooked by the fact that, you know, I can get them just about anywhere, and I only paid about $2 a piece for them, so I think it'll do for my son's collection to start off with. Next we go to Chewie. Now this is not part of the Power of the Force line. This is a more modern version. I don't know what year or what toy line this is from. I just know I really like it. He's unlike the Power of the Force line, he's about a head taller than what, you know, that version. He's not all big and muscular. He's really cool looking. Probably my only complaint about this figure is if they were going to give him all this articulation in his hands and arms and shoulders, why not just give him a pivot at his elbow so he could straighten his arms out? Because about the only thing he does is stand there looking like he's holding his blaster, or like he's saying, "Say what?" But still, a really cool figure, and I really like this one a lot. Princess Leia, again, not from the Power of the Force. This is a much more modern version, you can tell, because of all the articulation in the arms, I mean, and the wrists. Really cool figure. I don't think, well, to be honest, there's something wrong with this figure, and it could be one of two things. Either this figure has the wrong head on it, because she doesn't have her cinnamon buns, or this is from The Empire Strikes Back, the scene where, at the end of the movie, where she's in the medical ship with Luke, which makes no sense to me. Why would they make a figure based on that small scene that looks almost exactly like the one outfit she wore in A New Hope with a different hairstyle? That doesn't make sense to me, because that's what I think this figure is. I'm not really sure. If anybody knows, let me know. But still, it's a pretty cool figure, and I think, you know, besides the hairdo, it's a good stand-in for what I was looking for. Obi-Wan. Now, this is one of those characters that suffered from the horrible thing going on with his legs. He's got this weird pose that angles him way far forward, even when he doesn't have his arms up or with a lightsaber in his hands. You can kind of see it. He's angled slightly forward. And it's very difficult to get this figure to stand up. It's actually to the point of frustrating where like you're just going to throw him against the wall. So I just went and put a base on him just because I got tired of trying to mess with him. And I'm sure if I get frustrated, a kid's not going to have much luck with it either. So I may be looking to replace this figure. There is a kind of seen pictures of a different one where he's just kind of standing straight up, which makes the figure stand up a lot easier. So, and that's probably a little bit more accurate for an Obi-Wan. He's not really doing a whole lot of action in the movie. And in the cantina scene, geez, he barely even breaks a sweat on that. But then, he's just doing that one really slow fight scene with Darth Vader. But for starters, I think it'll be okay until I can get a replacement. Darth Vader, again, you can see he's got the big, huge muscles, but that's not too bad for this figure. I think it's a good size. I think he's only a little bit too short. I think he needs to be about maybe a quarter of an inch taller, and I think it'll be a little bit more accurate. Got some articulation in the arms to where he can hold his lightsaber like he's lightsaber dueling. The only thing about that is when you try to put his arms down, his hands just go immediately to his crotch. So it looks like he's scratching himself or playing with himself all the time. It's pretty funny, but overall, it's an okay figure. I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Like I said, it's a good starter figure. I may be looking to get something a little bit different, probably something a little bit more modern. Some of those modern Vaders are just really sweet looking, so I may be getting one of those. Again, anybody's had any suggestions on that, just let me know. Let's get R2. Again, not Power of the Force. I don't know what toy line this is from, but I need to find out because it is like the coolest R2 I've ever seen. And if they have any other astromech droids that are like this, I want them. This is so cool. Okay, he's actually got wheels on the bottom, so he actually like rolls around. He's got articulation in the legs and his little feet, so he actually, can get into a position to where it looks like he's actually supposed to be, and not just you lean him back and his legs are like hanging up off the table. This little middle foot actually comes out. I just figured this out the other day. I was messing with it and it came out. And look at that. He stands up. Pretty cool. Next thing you know is that glowing eye. It's a little window on the top of his head that lets light through and makes it look like his eye is glowing. Really cool. And then the head turns and clicks and the little sensor pops out. How cool is this figure? The detail is just really good. Good paint job on it. Really cool. If I could have, I actually have two of these, one for me and I picked one up for my son. So if anybody knows what toy line this is from, let me know so I can go get some more, if there is any more of them. C-3PO. Paid $3 for this one, $1 more than I did the other ones. But still, I couldn't find a loose one. This one's really cool looking. I like the gold on him. He's not too buff like some of the other figures. You do notice he is probably a little bit exaggerated in his proportions, but not so much to where it just makes the figure look ridiculous. So, again, really good starter figure. And there's my son. Stormtroopers. Again, not the Stormtroopers. What do they do? They shoot. Here. Like I said, not the best looking Stormtroopers, but you only pay a couple bucks for them. That way, you know, I can get a bunch of them. Probably going to start off, I'm going to try to get some more, probably get about 10 total. That'd be a good start for, you know, having a bunch of bad guys to fight against. Yeah, here. And then last is the Jawas. Again, these are just really cool. Kids always like them. They're a bunch of fun, so got a bunch of them. Probably good look to get maybe a couple more. R2. Here you go. Don't go too far with them. See, he likes them already. Really cool feature. They, again, like the R2, they have the little window to where it makes their eyes look like they're lighting up. So they're really cool. So that's all I really got. Any questions or comments, just let me know. And any suggestions on some other figures, put those down in the comments as well. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.